The space between the ships lit up as the Vigilant fired what appeared to be a warning shot. A concentrated burst of plasma that passed less than a kilometer from the Harmonious Minds hull. The raw power of the blast sent cascading disruptions through their sensor networks. 20 seconds to comply. Chen's voice was cold, professional. After that, we disable your vessel. In that moment, Ziraval realized that her assumptions about technological superiority might have been dangerously naive. These humans, despite their seemingly primitive approach to space travel, had developed weapons that could genuinely threaten a collective vessel. Power down all non-essential systems, she commanded, her thoughts tinged with a mixture of humiliation and fascination. It seems we have much to learn about this species, starting with the fact that peaceful intentions alone do not guarantee a peaceful reception. As the Harmonious Minds' crystalline hull dimmed and their engines spooled down, Ziraval couldn't help but wonder what experiences had shaped humanity into a species that approached the cosmos with such careful aggression. She was about to discover that humanity's path to the stars had been very different from anything the collective had ever imagined. The inspection team from the Vigilant moved through the Harmonious Mind with methodical precision. Their powered armor made them look like walking tanks to Ziraval's eyes, each movement calculated and purposeful. Commander Maya Rodriguez, the team leader, kept one hand near her weapon, while sophisticated sensors built into her helmet analyzed everything around them. "Your ship design is unusual," Rodriguez commented, her helmet's visor becoming transparent to reveal a face that mixed professional focus with genuine curiosity. No internal compartments, no emergency bulkheads, no point defense systems. How do you handle combat situations? The Harmonious Mind is a research vessel, Ziraval explained, trying to maintain her species' trademark serenity despite her growing unease. We haven't needed combat capabilities in thousands of years. Rodriguez's expression shifted to something between concern and disbelief. With respect, High Observer, that seems dangerously optimistic. The galaxy isn't exactly a safe place. Before Ziraval could respond, the ship's communication system activated. Commander Rodriguez returned to the Vigilant immediately. Captain Chen's voice carried unmistakable tension. Multiple contacts approaching at FTL speeds. The human team moved with startling efficiency, their previous methodical inspection forgotten as they rushed back to their shuttle. Ziraval followed them to the docking bay, her scientific curiosity overriding her anxiety. "What's happening?" "Raiders," Rodriguez replied grimly. "The Nexus cartel. They'd prey on isolated ships, especially ones with valuable technology like yours. Stay behind our defensive line." Through the Harmonious Mind's quantum imaging system, Ziraval watched as 7 ships dropped out of FTL. They were brutal things, their hulls bristling with stolen technology from dozens of civilizations. Their very existence challenged everything the collective believed about advanced species naturally evolving beyond violence. "Attention unknown vessels," Captain Chen's voice broadcast on all frequencies. "You are entering restricted space. Withdraw immediately or face consequences." The raiders responded with a barrage of weapons fire that lit up space like a newborn star. Ziraval expected to see the Vigilant attempt to retreat or negotiate. Instead, what happened next changed her understanding of warfare forever. The human warship moved like a predator, its engines firing in patterns that seemed random but allowed it to dodge the majority of incoming fire. What hits it did take were absorbed by layered defensive systems that made the collective's peaceful technology look primitive by comparison. "Fascinating," Second Mind Corell whispered, watching the battle unfold. "Their ship's design. It's not just about weapons. Look at how they're using gravitational waves to predict projectile paths, how their point defense systems create overlapping fields of protection." The Vigilant's counterattack was surgical and devastating. Instead of attempting to disable or capture the raider vessels, it systematically destroyed their weapon emplacements and engines. Each shot seemed precisely calculated to cause maximum damage with minimum energy expenditure. "High Observer," Third Mind Tilera called out, her thoughts pulsing with excitement. I'm detecting something remarkable. The humans, they're not just fighting. They're gathering data. Each attack is slightly different, testing the raiders' defenses, learning their capabilities. Zaraval watched in astonishment as the Vigilant executed a maneuver that should have been impossible for a ship its size, diving between two raider vessels and using their own crossfire against each other while its weapons picked apart their defenses. They're not just warriors, she realized. They're scientists. They've turned warfare into a form of research. Within minutes, the battle was over. 6 raider ships floated dead in space, their crews evacuated to escape pods. The 7th had fled back into FTL, likely to warn others about the cost of attacking human-protected space. High Observer, Captain Chen's voice came through again. I trust you understand now why we take security so seriously. Your ship will remain under our protection until we can escort you to a safe zone. As Zaraval watched the human crew efficiently process the captured raiders and secure the area, she began to understand. Humanity hadn't developed its military might out of aggression, but out of necessity. They had turned their drive to survive into an art form, combining scientific methodology with martial prowess in ways the collective had never imagined. Captain Chen, she transmitted, her thoughts carrying a new note of respect. My species has spent millennia pursuing peace through technological advancement. We believed that violence was something civilizations naturally evolved beyond. But perhaps we were wrong. Perhaps true peace isn't about abandoning the capacity for violence, but about choosing when not to use it. An interesting perspective, High Observer, Chen responded, and Zaraval could hear a smile in her voice. Though I hope you'll forgive us if we keep our weapons powered up. We've learned the hard way that the universe doesn't always reward optimism. As if to prove Chen's point, at that moment their sensors detected new quantum distortions forming at the edge of the system. But these readings were different from anything either species had encountered before. The real test of their emerging understanding was about to begin. The quantum distortions at the edge of the system grew more intense, warping space itself in ways that made both human and collective sensors struggle to maintain coherence. What emerged from the dimensional tear made both crews fall silent in horror. The vessel was massive, easily dwarfing both their ships combined. Its hull seemed to be composed of living metal that flowed like liquid mercury, constantly reshaping itself into new configurations. Waves of dark energy rolled off it, disrupting the very fabric of space-time. By the first light, Zaraval whispered, "The harvesters. They were supposed to be extinct. Care to share with the class, High Observer?" Chen's voice was tense but controlled. "They're an ancient species, Captain. Stories tell of them consuming entire civilizations, breaking down all technology and organic matter to fuel their endless expansion. But they were supposed to have vanished eons ago." The massive vessel began emitting waves of energy that made both ships' sensors scream in protest. The Vigilant's engines flared to life, but the human ship didn't retreat. "All hands, battle stations," Chen ordered. "High Observer, your ship has no defensive capabilities. Fall back tow." "Wait," Zaraval interrupted, an idea forming in her mind. "Captain, perhaps there's another way. Your species has mastered the art of warfare, but the collective, we understand the fundamental forces of the universe in ways you haven't yet discovered. Together, we might stand a chance." The harvester ship launched what appeared to be clouds of metallic particles. Where they touched the debris from the earlier battle, the metal began to break down and reform into smaller attack craft. "Nanite weapons," Commander Rodriguez reported from the Vigilance tactical station. "They're converting matter into combat units." The Vigilance response was immediate, releasing swarms of its own microscopic machines. "Anti-replication countermeasures," Chen explained. "Developed after we found von Neumann probes in the Kuiper belt. Never thought we'd need them this soon." Zaraval watched in amazement as the human countermeasures engaged the harvester swarms. Where the two clouds met, tiny flashes of light marked microscopic battles being fought on a massive scale. High Observer. Corell's thoughts carried sudden inspiration. Their weakness, I think I understand. The harvester technology relies on perfect order. Their nanites work in predictable mathematical patterns, but the human countermeasures. They're deliberately chaotic. Zyravel finished. Captain Chen, we're detecting massive energy fluctuations in their main vessel when their patterns are disrupted. But we don't have enough processing power to analyze and exploit it fully. What are you suggesting? Chen asked. The Harmonious Mind's quantum computers, they're designed to model complex astronomical phenomena. We could use them to analyze the harvester patterns and predict their adaptations. A joint operation. Your chaos, our computation. Your brains, our brawn. Chen sounded intrigued. Lieutenant Park, link our tactical systems with the collective vessel. Commander Rodriguez, prep boarding teams. If their weakness is patterns, let's give them some chaos to choke on. What followed was unlike anything in either species' history. The Vigilant engaged in a complex dance with the harvester vessel, its weapons and countermeasure swarms keeping the enemy's attention, while deliberately introducing random variables into each engagement. Meanwhile, the Harmonious Mind's massive quantum computers processed the battle data in real time, identifying pattern weaknesses that the humans could exploit. Their adaptation algorithms are failing, Tilera reported excitedly. They can't compensate for the randomness fast enough. Through their shared tactical display, Zeraval watched human boarding teams breach the harvester vessel. Unlike their methodical movement during the inspection, now they moved with controlled chaos, never establishing patterns that the enemy could predict. This is incredible. Rodriguez broadcast from inside the enemy ship. Their internal structure keeps trying to adapt to our presence, but can't establish stable configurations. We're literally making them malfunction by being unpredictable. The harvester vessel's surface began to ripple erratically as its nanite-based structure lost coherence. The humans had turned their greatest strength, their inherent unpredictability, into a weapon against an enemy that relied on perfect order. Alert! Corell's thoughts carried sudden urgency. Their quantum matrix is destabilizing. The energy release could take out both our ships. Actually, Zyraval felt her neural pathways pulse with what humans would later learn was their equivalent of a smile. I think it's time we showed you what a collective research vessel can really do. The Harmonious Mind's crystalline hull began to pulse with colors no human eye had ever seen. This was the moment when both species would learn that sometimes the greatest discoveries come not from peaceful observation or martial prowess alone, but from combining both in ways neither had imagined possible. The Harmonious Mind's crystalline hull transformed into what appeared to be pure light, its structure now channeling enough power to rival a small star. The harvester vessel's surface rippled in response, its nanite structure attempting to adapt to this new phenomenon. Captain Chen, Zyravel transmitted, our containment fields were designed to study black holes. We can redirect their collapsing quantum matrix into a controlled singularity. But we need your help. What do you need? Chen's response was immediate. Your chaos. Your unpredictability. If your teams can destabilize their internal structure at precisely the right moment. Chen didn't hesitate. Commander Rodriguez, you hear that? Already moving, Captain. Rodriguez responded from inside the harvester vessel. Teams are splitting up, creating random disruption patterns. But their internal defenses are adapting faster now. Because they're scared, Corell interjected, his thoughts pulsing with revelation. Look at their energy patterns. They're showing signs of actual emotion. Fear is making them evolve. The harvester vessel's surface began sprouting new formations, organic-looking weapons that targeted both ships with increasing accuracy. The Vigilance point defense systems flared continuously, barely keeping up with the assault. Whatever you're going to do, Chen called out, do it fast. We can't maintain this level of defense much longer. Zyravel reached out with her mind, connecting directly to the Harmonious Mind's quantum core. The ship's crystalline structure resonated with her consciousness, transforming from mere matter into a conduit for forces that defied conventional physics. All teams, fall back to emergency positions, Rodriguez ordered her boarding parties. They're starting to predict our patterns. We need something completely new. Actually, Chen's voice carried an edge of inspiration. Maybe we need something completely old. Lieutenant Park, transmit Earth historical combat data to the collective's computers. All of it. Every fighting style, every battle strategy from ancient times to modern day. Zyraval felt her neural pathways light up as the data flooded in. Thousands of years of human combat evolution, from primitive tribal warfare to modern space combat. Each style unique, each strategy born from different circumstances and needs. Of course, she whispered, the ultimate chaos isn't random at all. It's the layered complexity of your entire martial history. The Harmonious Mind's quantum computers began processing the historical data, creating a hybrid algorithm that combined human tactical evolution with collective physics manipulation. The result was something entirely new, a battle pattern that was simultaneously ancient and futuristic, ordered and chaotic. Commander Rodriguez, Chen ordered, execute maneuver pattern Earth Legacy. All variations, all time periods, simultaneously. The human boarding teams suddenly shifted their tactics. One squad moved like ancient Roman legionaries, another like medieval knights, others like guerrilla fighters or modern special forces. Each group fought differently, creating a cascade of tactical chaos that the Harvester's adaptive algorithms couldn't process. It's working. Tolera's thoughts rang with excitement. Their structure is destabilizing at the quantum level. They can't adapt to the full spectrum of human combat evolution. The Harvester vessel's surface began to crack, lines of pure energy breaking through its liquid metal hull. Inside, the human boarding teams continued their temporal combat dance, each unpredictable movement further disrupting the enemy's cohesion. Containment field at maximum charge, Zyraval announced. Captain, get your people out. Now. You heard her, Chen ordered. All teams, emergency extraction. Move. As the human boarding parties retreated, the Harmonious Mind's crystalline structure began to sing, a harmonious resonance that rippled through space-time itself. The Harvester vessel tried to respond, but its attempts at adaptation only accelerated its collapse. Quantum singularity forming, Corell reported. But something's wrong. The energy readings are beyond our calculations. The containment field won't hold. Then we'll hold it for you, Chen responded. Lieutenant Park, divert all power to the graviton projectors. Match their containment frequency. The Vigilance engines flared as it moved into position, its advanced gravity manipulation systems synchronizing with the collective vessel's quantum fields. Together, the two ships created a complex web of forces, trapping the collapsing Harvester vessel in a cage of physics beyond even its ancient understanding. Impact in 3. Zyraval began the countdown. Her mind merged completely with her ship's systems. 2, 1. The Harvester vessel imploded, its entire mass collapsing into a point of infinite density before the combined containment fields of both ships redirected the energy into a controlled burst that rippled harmlessly into subspace. For a moment, there was absolute silence. Then Chen's voice came through, carrying a mix of exhaustion and awe. High Observer, I believe this qualifies as a successful joint operation. As Zyraval watched the last traces of the Harvester vessel fade away, she realized that both their civilizations would never be quite the same after this. The collective had learned that peace sometimes required the strength to fight, while humanity had discovered that their martial history could serve a purpose beyond warfare. The universe, it seemed, had room for both chaos and order, for both the sword and the pen. The true challenge was knowing when to use each, and more importantly, when to use them together. 3 days after the battle, the Harmonious Mind and the Vigilant orbited a peaceful binary star system at the edge of human space. Their crews had spent the time repairing damage, exchanging knowledge, and coming to terms with how their encounter had changed both their civilizations forever. Zyraval stood in the Vigilance observation deck, watching the twin stars dance their eternal cosmic ballet. Captain Chen stood beside her, both of them free of their usual formal attire. It was no longer a meeting between a high observer and a military commander, but a conversation between two individuals who had glimpsed the true complexity of the universe. "Your engineers are remarkably adaptable," Zyraval noted. "They've already begun incorporating some of our quantum field principles into your shield systems." Chen smiled. "And your scientists are surprisingly quick studies when it comes to tactical thinking. I saw the simulations they're running, combining our combat algorithms with your physics understanding, creating something entirely new." "That's what bothers the Collective Council," Zyraval admitted. "They're concerned that this collaboration might push us away from our peaceful principles. And my superiors are worried that your influence might make us lower our guard." Chen turned to face the High Observer. "They don't understand yet, do they? That strength and peace aren't opposites. No more than chaos and order," Zyraval agreed. "We thought we had evolved beyond the need for defensive capabilities. But in doing so, we made ourselves vulnerable not just to attack, but to stagnation. Your species reminded us that true growth comes from facing challenges, not avoiding them." The observation deck's holoprojectors activated, displaying a tactical analysis of their battle with the harvesters. The swirling patterns of human combat evolution, merged with collective quantum mechanics, created an almost artistic display of light and motion. "Look at that," Chen mused. "Your perfect order, our controlled chaos. Apart, each had weaknesses. Together," she gestured at the display. "Together, we did what neither of us could have done alone." "We're already receiving transmissions from other collective vessels," Zyraval said. "They're fascinated by humanity's approach to space exploration, the combination of scientific curiosity and practical caution. Many want to learn from you. And I got half the Earth Defense Force requesting observer exchanges with collective ships." Chen chuckled. "Turns out watching you turn a research vessel into a quantum physics weapon made quite an impression." Their conversation was interrupted by a priority transmission. Commander Rodriguez's hologram appeared, her expression serious but excited. "Captain, High Observer, long-range sensors have detected 3 more harvester vessels approaching the Centauri colonies." Chen and Zyraval exchanged glances. This was the moment that would define their future relationship. Would they return to their separate ways, or forge something new? The Harmonious Mind's quantum computers could predict their emergence points, Zyraval offered, and your tactical systems could exploit those predictions. A joint operation. Chen's eyes sparkled with the challenge. "Your brains, our brawn." Again. Actually, Zyraval's neural pathways pulsed with what Chen now recognized as amusement. "I was thinking something more integrated. The Collective Council has authorized me to propose a permanent exchange program. Your tactical officers serving on our ships, our quantum specialists on yours, creating crews that combine both our strengths." "Interesting proposal." Chen studied the tactical display. "The bureaucrats on both sides will hate it. Mixing your pure research ships with our military vessels, breaking down the barriers between our approaches to space. Precisely why we should do it," Zyraval responded. "The harvesters showed us that the greatest threats don't care about our philosophical differences. They'll keep coming, and we'll need each other to face them." Chen nodded slowly. "Plus, if we've learned anything, it's that the most effective solutions come from combining different perspectives." She turned to Rodriguez's hologram. "Commander, set course for the Centauri colonies, and contact Earth Command. Tell them we're about to demonstrate the benefits of our new alliance." As both ships prepared for their first official joint mission, Zyraval reflected on how far they'd come from their initial confrontation. The collective had sought to transcend conflict through pure intellectual advancement. Humanity had prepared for it through tactical innovation and military readiness. Both approaches had their merits, but neither was complete alone. Together, they represented something new, a fusion of wisdom and strength, of knowledge and action. The cosmos was vast and full of wonders, but also dangers. Perhaps the greatest discovery they'd made was that true civilization wasn't about choosing between peace and strength, but about finding the wisdom to know when to use each. The binary stars continued their eternal dance as the harmonious mind and the vigilant moved in perfect formation, heading toward their next challenge. They carried with them not just two crews, but a new understanding of what it meant to be truly advanced, not the absence of conflict, but the wisdom to face it together, combining the best of both their worlds to forge a path into the unknown.